Alright guys, welcome back. In this video, we're going to go over sketch bends. So on my screen here, I've already created a sheet metal base flange part. Basically, you can see that over here I've got two features. Just created a basic flat sheet metal part here, so at least I have something to work with. Now, basically what we're going to do is sketch some lines telling SolidWorks where to form it. The most common situation where you'd want to do something like this is if you already have a flat part, and that's kind of your given, and now you just need to tell SolidWorks where to bend it. In most situations, this is not how you'd go about making a sheet metal part in SolidWorks. The main reason is that your flat that you start out with remains the same. So typically you'd want to use SolidWorks to draw up your part in 3D with all your flanges and everything, tell it what your bend deductions are, and then let SolidWorks tell you what that flat should look like. Okay, this is sort of a reverse way of thinking about that. So you're basically telling SolidWorks, no, this is my flat. This is what I'm starting out with. I know that. And now you're just telling SolidWorks how to bend it. Okay, so what ends up happening, and we can go over this too, but what ends up happening is that the bend deductions that you put in there, instead of them changing your flat, what they end up doing is just changing the position of your flanges and stuff. And so it's a totally reverse way of thinking about creating sheet metal parts in SolidWorks. And it's something to be aware of because it's important to know that your flat pattern is not going to change based on your bend deductions and whatnot. And anything that you do with your sketch bends, your flat's always going to remain the same. It's going to stay, whatever this geometry is, that's what it's going to be. So anyways, let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's go ahead and just look at this part, normal tube, Control 8. Okay. Now let's go ahead and just open up a sketch on that face. Now all we have to do is go and select, just a lined sketch here, and we can just start drawing lines. So let's just go ahead and do one for now to see what happens here. So now that I have the one line in there for where I want to place my bend, I can come over here and select the sketch bend tool over here. It's called sketched bend. It looks like this, the icon there. So just go ahead and click that. Now here, the first thing it's going to ask you is what your fixed face is going to be. What does it call it? Fixed face, yeah. So, what part of the sheet metal do you want to remain stationary as everything else starts folding up? So, typically you want your main area to stay stationary, so remain fixed there. So we're going to go ahead and select that face, and you can see it'll give you a preview of what it's going to do. These four icons here, basically just you're telling SolidWorks where you want to place that flange in relation to that line you just drew. Okay, do you want that line to represent your bend line? Do you want it to represent the outside of your bend, the inside, or do you want the bend to go completely to the outside of that line? Okay, so you have those four options. Now, here, you can flip your angle, okay, or your direction of bend, I should say. So if you want to go down, you can select that. We'll go ahead and leave it as going up. You can change your angle, 45 degrees, whatever you want to put in there. Okay, it'll change that. We're going to go ahead and leave it at 90 though for this. All right. And then if you want, you can override your default bend radius that you have set already in your sheet metal feature here. But we're just going to leave that as the default. And yes, you can change your bend allowance here. And like I said, that is not going to affect your flat pattern. What that's going to affect is how your flanges turn out. So, oops, let's go back into that sketch. There we go. Reselect that. All right, we're going to go ahead and hit OK, and you can see, there you go. Pretty simple, right? So let's go back now into that sketch bend feature, and I'm going to show you a couple other things here. So what you can do is right now, let's go back in just the sketch, not the feature. There we go. We can take this sketch line and remove that coincident relation. We can stretch this all the way across the part. Okay, so what that's going to do now is bend all the way across. So we can do that. Okay, let's go back in here again. We can have more than one sketch bend lined in here. Okay, boom. So we can do that too. You can even have lines that go perpendicular to each other. Okay, so let's say you want to fold it up right down the middle. Boom, it'll do that too. Okay, now what you'll notice is that all the bends are going the same direction. Okay, they're all bending up in this case. So if you want to have another bend that's a different angle, different direction, anything like that, you'll have to create a separate sketch bend feature. Because if we go look at this feature, you'll see there's only one option for angle here and one option for your direction. So not a big deal, but if we wanted to go yet another direction with a bend, we could do that. We just have to go, for example, we'll go ahead and do a sketch bend on this face right here. Go ahead and just draw us a line going across there. Insert another sketch bend. Select the face that you want to remain constant. We'll just keep that section right there the same. You can see it bends that down for me. Now, let's see what happens if we try reversing that. You're going to have a overlap there, so probably don't want to go that way. We'll just leave it going that way. But we can go ahead and change the angle if we want. We can do that. So there you go. All right, so there you have it. That's how you create sketched bends. Just remember that it's not going to change your flat pattern. Your flat pattern will remain, and for that reason, I very rarely use the sketch bend feature, because generally I want SolidWorks to determine my flat pattern based on my bend deductions and whatnot. So anyways, there you go. That's how it works.